To see everyone this morning. I'm sure that there will be people that will join us. Uh, Sometimes Patricia comes in. We haven't seen Patricia in a couple of days. Sometimes folks come in and join, and so you might ask me to, or hear me to suggest people turn their cameras off. Um, so I just want to start out this morning by asking if anyone has anything that they want to share. I've been watching a really great pastor who has a YouTube channel called Religion, Politics, and Science, maybe. His name is Pat Conkey, Kahnke. And he's a really, really interesting guy. I mentioned that just to see if anybody else has heard of him. But no, and also to give Patricia time to join us. All right. Um, this is uh, the regular Tuesday gathering, courtesy of an open door. It's called Training Wheels, and it's where we take a lesson, a daily lesson in A Course in Miracles, and we just read through all 50 lessons and then land on the lesson that we're on, which today is lesson 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Only God's plan for salvation will work. And this lesson's kind of redundant in a way that I'll talk a little bit about when we get to it. Um, but what we usually do is we just sit and I read through the first 50 lessons as a way to enter into a meditation. And I find myself at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock, oftentimes going through lessons that are in those first 50 lessons and finding that they offer me something new each time. So I don't think it's it may seem repetitive to go through the lessons, but each time they bring us potentially to a new place. So go ahead and just relax where you are. I'm going to turn my video off and I'm going to start reading through them. And then we'll have time for some discussion about how the lesson lands for you, how it applies for you today or has recently applied to you, for you. We are in God, we are with God, we are as God as we go through these lessons. So feel your feet on the floor. Feel your rear end in your seat. Let your shoulders relax. Soften your heart area. Allow your attention to be resting gently with the breath. And on the out breath, let go of anything that has accumulated so far in your day, whatever it is, however large or small. Just give it up to that which we reside in, with, and as the absolute infinite. And we begin. Nothing I see in this room, on the street, in this world means anything. I have given everything I see in this room, on this street, in this world, all the meaning it has for me. I do not understand anything I see. These thoughts do not mean anything. I am never upset for the reasons I think. I'm upset because I see something that isn't there. I see only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. But God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images I have made, images I have agreed to and with. And I have no neutral thoughts. And I see no neutral things. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing, nor am I alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. I am determined to see things differently. What I see is a form of vengeance. I can escape this world I see by giving up attack thoughts. I do not perceive my own best interests. I do not know what anything is for. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Above all else, I want to see. Above all else, I want to see things differently. The infinite, absolute, is in everything I see. The infinite, absolute, is in everything I see because it is in my mind. I am not a victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. And there is another way of looking at this world. I could see peace instead of this. My mind is part of the infinite, absolute, indivisible. I am very holy. My holiness envelops everything I see. My holiness blesses the world. And there is nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness is my salvation. I am blessed as a part of the infinite, absolute, indivisible. The infinite, absolute, indivisible is with me wherever I go. It is my strength, and vision is its gift. It is my source. I cannot see apart from it. It is the light in which I see. It is the mind in which I think. It is the strength in which I trust. And there is nothing to fear. The infinite, absolute, indivisible is speaking to me all throughout the day. And I am sustained by it. And only its plan, only its plan for salvation can work, because it is all there is. The lesson for today is about learning itself. There are only two curriculums available for our learning. One is the personal mind, and the other is the Holy Spirit's, the absolute, indivisible, the bridge, the holy communicator, the intelligent universe. Only one curriculum teaches about reality, the truth, and only one leads to lasting peace. The egoic curriculum teaches seek but do not find. Maybe you remember last week's teaching about the hamburger universe, where we are caught in the middle between the upper bun and the lower bun, each vying for the meat it wants to complete it. That was a view of the human condition that was put forward a long time ago by a former Catholic priest. A Course in Miracles says it is a ludicrous idea. There's no hell except that which we create, and we create it in our mind. There isn't anything to save because we have never been separated from Source. However, there is one part of the image that warrants some discussion, and that is the dual nature of the split mind. The hamburger image is a visual of our own split mind. We perceive either with the personal mind's idea of separation or through the vision, the heart sense of the Holy Spirit. Each offers a radically different curriculum. The curriculum of this world, which is the personal mind, favors separation. It will never show you anything else. Its teaching is that if someone or something was somehow different than it actually is, your life would be better, easier, happier. Something must be altered for the personal mind to be content, even for a moment. My day has to change. The weather has to change. My bank account has to change. My body has to change. The other must change. Each demand is a declaration of denial. The ego's curriculum demands that everything has to change except itself. This is insanity, but it goes further. Not only does the ego demand that its grievances against reality be corrected, but it also ensures at the same time that any correction will never be enough. There will always need to be another, and then another, and then another after that. The personal mind is literally at war with reality. And it is this war itself that sustains the egoic mind. Seek but do not find is the ego's curriculum. It guarantees that you will never find lasting peace. You are outside the circle of truth forever. To fight reality is to split your mind in two. To argue with what is futile and insane. What is, is. Peace lies in the curriculum of the Holy Spirit, the bridge, the great translator, the one Spirit, complete connection in source, as source, with source. There is no alternative to this. There is no other plan. And you need no other plan. You are already saved. The personal mind fears what it cannot control, and it cannot even control itself. The absolute infinite source of all things would have you relax, let go, play the fool, and trust. The next step rises to meet you as you take it. You need do nothing. What you are endowed with from your source is unalterable and can never be withheld or taken from you. It is available 100% of the time in every single situation. This lesson, only God's plan for salvation will work, is redundant. What is salvation? Salvation, according to Kenneth Wapnick, is simply the recognition of universal mind, the recognition of one-ment, the atonement, the at-one-ment of all things. That is what salvation is, and that is what source is. It is the same thing. Only God's plan for salvation will work is synonymous with I need do nothing. I need no plan. The resistance to these words is sometimes very subtle. As we begin to master these teachings, we notice more often during the day and even in our sleep when we are in resistance to what is. But we need not do anything about this resistance because the resistance itself is what is. I am in God, as God, and with God. My noticing is all that I need to do, nothing more. Who notices the resistance? Source within me notices. What notices the resistance? Source notices. That is what arises. Move into the next moment. If there's anything that needs to be done, it is simply to begin your day by asking the question, what would you have me do today? And then open. Where would you have me go? How would you have me get there? What would you have me say and to whom? Don't worry about the answers. Whatever arises is perfect as it is. You will know the answer in the form of a feeling, the hair rising on your arms, a chill, a sense in your heart center, sometimes in your throat. You might notice only emptiness, and that itself is a form of an answer. Silence itself is a powerful thing. Today's practice is to stop as often as you are moved to and sense your way, feel your way into the words of the lesson. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Even that may be too many words. Just sense your way into your own oneness with what is. If you can, be alert to your resistance. Don't worry if you're not. Be happy that you can tell the difference between resting in Source and listening to the egoic mind. What a joy that is. Let things unfold today as they are. Thank you for being here. When you're ready, take a few centering breaths and then turn your camera on and let's talk about this lesson. Only God's plan for salvation will work. That's like saying, rest in what is. Cindy. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning. And I'm not going to say much. Just in this moment, all the teachings seem to be the same. I mean, I'm reading Eckhart Tolle for the book study with my sisters, and I was listening to Natalie Sudman this morning, and I'm doing a Kabbalah class, and all of them seem to point, all of them are pointing to this understanding that this is God, and the guide yesterday, and everything that seems to conflict with that is an opportunity to withdraw, an opportunity to recognize that it's all a gift and I can experience it, and it's in my head. Natalie Sudman going, blind in one eye, so what? It's only 40 years. That kind of space. And as I was listening to you and sitting with this, um, it was Eckhart Tolle just stating the ego is never satisfied. So why try to feed it anymore? That was literally, we're in chapter 3, and that was like the end of the notes right before I came into this meeting, and you were pointing to that too. The ego's agenda is to never be satisfied and always create problems to solve. And um, yeah, so really it's all kind of working here, and I'm feeling really grateful. And that's what I
Yeah,
want
one
to.
of one of the quotes I had on my bathroom mirror for a long time was from Eckhart Tolle, and I think it was the ego is maintained through continuous resistance to what is. I when I first heard that, I was just, of course that's true. These lessons just deepen and deepen as we practice them. And I have to remind myself sometimes that this world is just doing its job by pulling us out of the center. That's its job. That's what it's here to do, to give us this experience of separation or of the illusion of separation. Did you put your hand up again, Cindy? Okay.
Yeah, just a slight perception shift of the way I've been looking at the world. I wrote about it this morning. To me, I don't even know that the world has a job anymore. It's just a projection of what's inside. So, um, I don't know, like if the world is a projection to show me what I can't see because it's like behind my seeing, every time I look at the world as the gift to let me know that all it's doing is projecting something that's coming up to be held in a higher vibration, something here softens around it. So, um, and Natalie again was saying it's just a movie. I'm only halfway through it because I'm like sitting with it slowly, but she literally just said it's, this idea that the world is just a movie. Um, in my head, more and more I've been using this word projection, so it's really just an image. So,
That's a great comment that the world doesn't really have a job anymore. I like that, Cindy. That is it's a subtle shift in the way you look at it. So thank you for that. Rana, good morning. How are you feeling?
Good morning.
Good
Well, I
morning.
felt really prompted to share and just show up, you know,
Good.
seriously show up.
We miss you
And
when you don't.
what these last 20 minutes or so did for me was shifted me from the head into the heart. And I really needed that. And the realization came that this feeling of being unaligned, just off a little bit, has been because I'm living in the head. And doesn't that always equate to suffering, right? And I've probably been believing a lot of those thoughts too, you know, but that's okay because then I remember. I sit down and I meditate with my family here. And then what is offered is I loved the whole learning about the split mind, right? There's a couple things going on here, and I'm not bad for having a split mind. It's not wrong, right? I just got to keep reiterating that. But I can ask for correction, like in the spirit of A Course in Miracles, if we're talking in that kind of language during this group, I can ask for correction. And how do I do that? It always starts with the same thing. Stop, pause, get quiet. And the welcoming of the resistance and not making myself wrong for having it. I have not sat quietly for more than maybe 2 minutes for several weeks. And I wonder why I feel off, but there's something here that is really resistant. It just wants to pull in, you know, and so that's why I'm speaking. Is not because there's anything wrong with that resistance, but if I shine the light of awareness on it, I can be honest and say, yeah, there's like resistance to living right now, you know. And I know I can say that here without anybody thinking I'm about to jump off a cliff. That is not what I mean. It's about getting involved in the reality that's going on around me, So none of it's wrong, doesn't need to be fixed. Like I think that's just what the deal is, right? It doesn't need to be fixed. It's what is. And so I'm sitting with what is and trying to stay aligned by being honest here. So it's very interesting. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the hug.
Thank you for sharing your honesty. I love that. And when you're speaking, it does remind me of Sudman's standing outside the destroyed Humvee or Jeep or whatever she was in, and talking about what injuries with all the guides and they're deciding what injuries they're going to give her body and laughing about it. Which she rightfully said, that sounds like cray cray when you're in the body. It doesn't make any sense. But what a different perspective when we're not in the body.
If I could just add, what I see now is there's a feeling, a sense, an energy, and the mind has attached a story to it. And this morning, what I was allowed to do is like, it has nothing to do with this story, just accept that there's this feeling, this sense, this emotion, this charge there. Don't attach the story because the story just keeps it here for days. This is why you don't feel good. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Last night I was up at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Neither my husband or I could sleep. So I got up and I put on this white bathrobe that I bought a little more than a year ago for my back surgery. And I thought to myself, oh, yeah, it was a year ago. Uh, that you had your back surgery and you were really dealing with a lot of physical stuff. And you got this bathrobe because you couldn't put your pants on, you couldn't put your socks on. You had a hard time using the toilet because you had to strain and push, and that you were afraid that would hurt the adhesions. And look where you are now. You know, it's it's very interesting, this passage of time and what the body goes through. Very interesting. But we're in it when we're in it, right? We are in it when we are in it. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like this. There's no punishment for that. That's just what is, right? That's fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Express it. The last thing you want to do is to say, oh, I should remember I'm not a body, and then not say anything.
Because
Yeah,
that's resisting what is.
that's resisting what is. Exactly. You have to walk and chew gum at the same time, right? I don't like it. I know I'm not the body, but I don't like it. I'm having this experience. I know I'm not the body, but I don't like it. I'm having the experience of not liking the illusion. Okay, good for me, right? Julie, good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Normally, I'm volunteering at the children's farm, but we have bad weather, rain, so it was canceled. So, Olivia and Ronnie, Ron, I asked, what time are the meetings today? So I was so glad I could be here. I just love the shares and your humanness that really helps me with my growth because today. And my nephew, who would have been the same age as my older son, it would have been his 41st birthday today. He died 7 years ago on the 9th of this month from a drug overdose, and so it's been very hard on my sister. And I used to dread today with her because she's still in that very hard grief and and I would like to counsel her and like, oh, just he's there with you in spirit. But now I know it's just her experience, and all I can do is offer love. And so, and if she asks for anything, I'm there for her. I don't live in the same town, so I can't give her a hug in person. But I'm just grateful that for me, next week when it is the anniversary of his death, I look at how awesome it is that he's in this new world, this new journey, and because I see it differently through the eyes of this wonderful gathering. And I can't really share that with her because she's not there yet, but I can just be a pure love. So when we were doing the meditation and at the end, and I apologize, I can't remember because that's how my brain goes. But when you said, just take a moment, how do you feel? And I just felt that love in my heart, that's all I can give is love. And that's all I'm here for, is to be loved. And I'm reading the daily lessons, and I think I'm on 63 or something. And now it's really where I'm taking time in the morning to really do 10 minutes of meditation. And it's a little hard for me just to really sit here in the morning, but it's been really, making progress. And it's a little bit, but I love where it is really all God wants me to be happy. Our source wants us to be happy and to give love. And when I think of that and I get out of the human, it's wonderful. But like you guys all said, we're human and not to be hard on ourselves. So I appreciate those lessons from all of you because I can be my worst critic, and I just have to realize that today, just doing the best and to give love and to be the source. I guess that's how I want to say it. So sorry, I use my hands a lot. Anyway, thank you. I'm just so glad to be here. So awesome. And I'm going to be here at noon too. So I'm excited.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yes.
good.
Thank you.
I remember learning that my function was forgiveness. That was a huge lesson for me. My function is forgive. It was like somebody had just given me the job description from my life. And I just bathed in that. And I still find great comfort in that. That's my function. I didn't give it to myself. It came from something that I am in, with, and of. Yeah. And Lonnie, get prepared because I'm going to ask you how you're doing. Alka, I'm going to ask you how you're doing. And so I'm forewarning you. I'm looking at both of you and thinking, I got to ask them how they're doing. But Sandra, you're first. I saw your hand go up. You're not getting away with it.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Julie, thank you for that. Thank you, Amy, for your beautiful meditation, which is always, it always adds more. I don't know how else to say that. But I was thinking about grieving and how somehow there is this human instinct to want to take the pain away. And I know it could because we love, and I no longer want to take the pain away when I see grief, and I no longer want it to go away. There's this line. I read a line yesterday from this book. I have to read another one now for Julie. What purer form can love assume than the vast sorrow of a broken heart? Granted, all the space it needs. What pure form can love assume than the vast sorrow of a broken heart? Granted, all the space it needs. When Jan Fraser wrote this, she had 20 years since she had awakened, and she had learned over the course of that 20 years that we have a deliciously alive human heart. It doesn't go away. It's deliciously alive now, and it's no longer cramped by fear. So I think your sister's grief is beautiful. And when I see it as beautiful, it doesn't take away the pain. I embrace the pain. I embrace it. It's so indicative. It's such a sign of pure love. I mean, who would we be if we did not have the pain of loss of someone, So it's not about getting over it. It's about embracing it for what it is. As Amy said, beautifully said. And there's it's embracing all of life. I don't know if it's a purpose or a job or whatever. I just know it is, and I am here, and I'm in this body, and I love people, and I'm close to people, and sometimes that hurts. Sometimes the body physically hurts. So I'm just so aware now of the brevity of each moment, the brevity of each day, of each year. It seems like I just decorated my Christmas tree last week, and now I'm decorating it again. It's just, it's so brief in eternity that I can now love it more, even when old habits want to come up and resist something. And it qualitatively changes the experience. It doesn't take away the pain, but it loves the pain at the same time the pain is there. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I know that now. Yesterday, my daughter and I were looking at pictures of my granddaughter when she was a baby. She goes, "Oh, I miss that baby. I miss that baby." And I say, "Someday you're going to miss that teenager." And she went, "What?" And I said, "So love the teenager." And she was like, "Wow, yeah."
Mm.
Someday, this body that doesn't work so good anymore, I'm going to miss this one that only had a pain in the hip. So thank you for this. God's plan for salvation is the only plan. And I'm loving it now. I'm loving the plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. That was beautiful. I love the reading from Jan Fraser. That was just such poetry. Beautiful. All right, Alka, you're up next. You're on my screen next. All you have to do is say good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Well, every time I hear a share, there's 100 things buzzing around in my head, and then they're all gone. But I was thinking about Rona's share, and I always, when I'm overwhelmed with doing 100 things, I always bring Rona in front of me. You're my role model, Rona, to know that you can walk the path of being absolutely exhausted and still be in presence. And the second thing that is on my mind a lot is this friend who is in the old people's home against her will. It took me a while to actually realize that it's the best place for her, and that's God's plan for her. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Alka. Thank you. Mm. Mm. Thank you. And Lonnie, how does the morning find you?
Well, this God's plan is the only plan. That finds me right at smack dab in the middle of my heart. And when you said it, it was like, well, of course, because all is God and God is all. So why wouldn't everything that happens in this all be a part of the plan? And that's just like this little flippant voice that happens. And coming to the recognition of that is the big part of it. But I think what it really keeps hitting me was I started trying to zooming in on, I guess, the resistance that may have shown up the last few days. I was away for 5 days, away from my silence for 5 days in a house of people and dogs. And it's my niece and her wife, and they happen to have two sons who were born the exact same day and hour to the minute. And they're not, I mean, we looked at birth certificates this weekend, so it was like we always said this was, and there it was in print. And they were in the same hospital. So I was telling the boys, you guys are meant to be brothers. But what I was walking in witness of, and as I look back at it, they kept saying, well, what do you prefer? Well, what do you want? Because they just wanted to please me and make sure I was happy. And I kept saying, well, whatever you do is fine with me. And finally, my niece was like, you're making it so hard. I'm like, I'm just not making a decision because whatever you choose is okay. As long as it's not something that's going to kill me like pineapple, we're good. And they just, there was that me watching me and realizing that I was just in this flow of, after I had seen you guys and sat with you guys, it just opened me up to just be right there and to just enjoy the flow, but to also sit and witness of what, their flow and these little, like, it was like watching a game of pinball up close, like in the game and watching the ball hit the bumpers and bump, 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 bump. And I realized that one of the things, and sitting here today and listening, I realized that one of the gifts that I've received has been just this. Once I realized that, really came into the knowing that God is all, that this is everything, then I had to relook at everything as well. And when I stand today in these moments of pushback or resistance, it's gotten to almost like a habit to go right to, when I feel it now, it's not to initially push back initially, but it's to be curious about it. Well, here's that feeling again. What's that about? And not to change it. Oh, I have to unlock a door. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Oh, while we're waiting, Patricia, you've got your hand raised. Oops. Lonnie, we got Patricia.
I'm sorry. It's not to change it,
Oh,
but
sorry,
to
Patricia.
but to sit all the way down in it
Right.
and to fully experience it and to kind of get in the flow of, yeah, this too is God, and the only time it doesn't feel good or when it's really, really bad for me is when I push back against it. It's when I say it shouldn't be or somehow it has to be different. When I let it just be, it's like, oh shit, that's really kind of easy that way. But that was also one of the gifts of living like I live in a body that has very little cartilage. So I have a lot of dislocations and stuff. And the more I didn't want my body to dislocate, the more it dislocated. Once I stopped trying to stop it, guess what? Somehow we're staying together. So thank you. God is all.
Yeah. Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you for that. And I will close out with Patricia. Good
I
morning.
see. Good morning. I see we have 2 minutes. I'll make it quick. Everything, when I think about life in this body, everything is loss. One moment to the next. The moment that just passed, I lost it. And here I am right now. And human relations, everything is loss. And I was talking to my sister about it, and we said, wow, sure is. Everything is loss. And that's okay. And it's that acceptance because that's what is. How's that for 1 minute left? Thank you.
Oh, that's a whole boy, that you just opened up a whole thing there. We're gonna meet again in an hour. Um, that's something to, who knows what loss is, what feels like loss may not be loss. I don't mean to discount what you're saying at all, because being in these bodies as we get older does feel that way for sure. But it's also moving us toward not being in the body. It's
Right.
it's a gain towards our transition into something else. So there is no
Everything's
loss
changed.
yeah, no loss in God's kingdom, right? Yeah.
What if loss is gain?
It all depends on how you look at it. Yeah.
And what if it's transition?
Yeah.
And what if it's acceptance?
What if it's all?
Wow. All right, everyone. It's 11 o'clock. We're going to meet again at noon for um for gosh,
12 stepping.
12 stepping. Who's leading 12 stepping?
The Dago.
Oh, and Dago. All right. Okay. Well, go do your thing and we'll see you again in an hour. It's good to see everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.